Marchioness Gwladys Townshend was a pioneering British screenwriter early last century. She also reported her own true family ghost story to paranormal researchers of the time. She reports the following account as a true story and disregarded warning. She was unable to name the house where the incidents occurred, as it was at the time regularly up to let as a furnished property. Equally, she did not identify the location of a place she calls the Dangerous Hill, although describing it as set in unspoiled countryside passed through on the way to the south coast of England. The sumptuous house, while being the last word in aristocratic heritage, had been internally fitted with every modern comfort and was a property investor's dream. Managed by a West End real estate agent, all its furnishings were in excellent taste, and thus it came to the attention of Townshend's niece, Tanit. Tanit, a slightly rebellious youth whom she described as having film star looks, had recently become engaged to a pleasant young man called William, whom Townshend had also known since he was a baby. Townshend felt very glad when Tanit announced her forthcoming marriage, but also not so surprised when she added that the happy couple were planning something unusual. There was to be no honeymoon, but they would be renting a furnished house where they would spend a few months. If they found that they didn't get on, they would end the relationship and sublet the house. Tanit explained that marriage was no longer set in concrete as it had been in Townshend's day, that it was safety first, and if the couple is not happy, they can both try again with someone else. Tanit's mother had heard of this lovely furnished house 50 miles from London, from where they could still come back for dances and cinemas while enjoying the romance and escape of living in the country. She and William would be inspecting the house with her mother, who could check that it met all their practical needs the following Monday. Who was to know that this day trip would provoke some kind of sinister curse and end in unexplained tragedy? Townshend later heard that the day began optimistically as William's latest speed car took the very steep incline marked Dangerous Hill with the ease of a swallow's flight. The gleaming mansion was situated at the top of the hill and surrounded by blossoming orchards and daffodil fields. The caretaker met the trio with keys and maps, and while Tanit's mother checked the kitchen and living spaces, the betrothed couple excitedly explored the upstairs and downstairs. They then ventured out to the extensive gardens where there were fountains and a bathing pool. Strolling along stone paths lined with rock terraces with miniature waterfalls, they found a large rock seat overlooking a marvellous view across the green valley. Here they sat to plan their magical spring and summer on the summit of so-called Dangerous Hill. Tanit later reported to her aunt that the pair had been sitting there for about a quarter of an hour when she came. They had not heard her coming, which was strange, as it was so still that a pin could be heard to drop on the flagstone path. Although later realising that she was a ghost, all they saw at the time was a tall, attractive woman, obviously in deep mourning and very sad, who spoke in a kind of faraway voice. She asked Tanit and William, "What brings you here?" William responded that they were thinking of renting the house, explaining, "It's just what we want." Her chilling reply was, "The others thought so too." William went on to explain that he and Tanit were going to be married and were sick of the beaten track, having been everywhere and done everything, cruising, motoring and winter sports. The woman nodded and said that she understood, then asked if they were very much in love. The young couple felt awkward and simply explained that they got on terribly well and hoped they would be happy. At this, the woman gave a very curious response, saying that the others had loved each other very dearly. She said they were about your age, but the hill did not allow them to be happy. Tanit and William began to think that the woman was very odd and asked her what hill and what did she mean. The woman said that she had bought the house, even though she had been told the site and the hill belonged to ancient forces which resent intruders. But she had found the place so beautiful she had not listened. She emphasised, "You must listen, don't come here. Go back to London, forget this place, and remember the other two." They questioned her. Who were the other two? Did she live here? As she replied that she lived nearby, they suddenly heard a funerary bell tolling somewhere. Tanit shivered as William whispered, "What a depressing sound. We must be close to a church." "Can't you hear the passing bell?" asked the woman. "Be warned." William was starting to become really angry, but the woman smiled a strange, twisted kind of smile and then was gone. She disappeared as quickly as she came, and Tanit realised that although the garden was flooded with bright sunlight, the woman had been shadowless. Tanit had been wondering what seemed so odd about her, and now she knew. The air suddenly felt cold as William, still peeved, queried the strange event and wondered what she meant by forces. What forces? The bell continued to toll as they hurried back into the house. Tanit's mother had nearly finished her cheque as William took the opportunity to ask the caretaker who was the woman they had met in the garden. He claimed not to know, perhaps someone from the village, he supposed. William was still nervous and wanting to get back to the main road. Tanit's mother said she would join them later as they went to the car. As they got in, Tanit was sure she heard someone laugh, then was surprised to see that from the top the hill looked very steep, with a nasty curve she hadn't noticed before. There was also a board staring them in the face which was marked Dangerous Hill. William was very angry by now and stood up in the car. "Damn you, Dangerous Hill," he shouted. "I don't care for you or any old forces. We shall live here for as long as we like and you can't stop us." With that, they streaked down the hill, while Tanit could now hear voices in the air and the distant bell tolling again. At the base of the hill, a lorry lurched out of a concealed turning and they crashed with a sickening grinding noise. The car was overturned, and the next thing Tanit remembered was the hospital. William had been killed instantly, and her mother later told her that he was dreadfully disfigured. With what she had learned since the crash, Tanit had become convinced that her beloved fiancé was a sacrifice to the things that own Dangerous Hill. The grieving young woman had not said this to anyone but Townshend, her aunt, whose spiritualist beliefs she knew well. They both researched the history of the house and found that the others referred to by the spectral woman were a young engaged couple like William and Tanit. The young man was an only son, and after the car crash on Dangerous Hill, when they both perished, his mother had died of a broken heart. They must have been contacted by her distraught spirit, trying to warn them that the hill demanded a sacrifice. Tanit's mother later heard that the young couple are buried close to Dangerous Hill, which may have accounted for the mournful passing bell they heard. However, who or what are the unknown forces demanding a sacrifice on Dangerous Hill remains a mystery.